श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। आचार्याः गुरुं प्रार्थ्य गुरुब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सद्गुरो चरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। गणानां त्वां गणपतिं नमामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिश्रीदशादनम्। ओं श्री महावल्लभगणपतये नमः। सप्रतसभां मे गोभाय एजसभ्याः सभासदः दानेन्द्रिया पदगुरु दर्भमायुर्भासदाम् अहे पुत्र्यमन्त्रं मे गोभाय यमृषयस्त्रै विदा विदुर्जस्सामानि यजुगुंषी साहिश्रीरमृता सदा। ध्रुवन्ते राजा वरुणो ध्रुवं देवो बृहस्पतिः ध्रुवन्त इन्द्रश्चाग्निश्च राष्ट्रं धारयतां ध्रुवम्। आचार्याः आचम्य पवित्रमादाय प्राणानायम्य शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये यद्वरदभक्तार्त्या पारिशक्त्या परशतं विघ्नं निघ्नन्ति सततं विश्वक्षेणं तमाश्रये। तदेव लग्नं सुदिनं तदेव ताराफलं चन्द्रफलं तदेव विद्याफलं दैवफलं तदेव गौरी लक्ष्मीपतेः अङ्घ्रियुगं स्मरामेद्य करिष्यमाणस्य कर्मणः निर्विघ्नेन परिणमाप्त्यर्थम्। आदौ महावल्लभगणपतिपूजां करिष्ये। आदौ विश्वक्षेणपूजां करिष्ये। अक्षतानुत्तरतो निरस्य अपवुपस्पस्य कलशस्य मुखे विष्णुः कण्ठे रुद्रसमाश्रिताः मूले तत्र स्थितो ब्रह्मा मध्ये मातृगणाश्मताः अङ्गे जयमुने जैव गोदावरी सरस्वती नर्मते सिन्धु कावेरी जलेऽस्मिन् सन्निधिं गुरुः। ओं सप्तनदिभ्यो नमः। तज्जलेन पूजाद्रव्याणि च आत्मानं च सम्प्रोक्ष्य गणपतिबिम्बम् अस्त्रेण सम्प्रोक्ष्य कुम्भं बिम्बं सम्प्रोक्ष्य श्रीमहावल्लभगणपतये नमः आवाहयामि। श्रीविश्वक्षेणाय नमः आवाहयामि। ओं गणानां त्वा गणपतिं नमामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पद आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिश्रीदशादनं। महावल्लभगणपतये नमः। एकदन्ताय विद्महे वक्रतुण्डाय धीमहि तन्नो धुन्दी प्रचोदयात्। तत्पुरुषाय विद्महे वेत्रहस्ताय धीमहि तन्नः शान्तः प्रचोदयात्। अस्मिन् बिम्बे महागणपतये नमः ध्यायामि। ओं भूर्भुवस्सुवः महागणपतिं ध्यायामि आवाहयामि। आसनं समर्पयामि अर्घ्यं समर्पयामि आचमनीयं समर्पयामि स्नानं समर्पयामि वस्त्रार्थमक्षतान् समर्पयामि उपवीतार्थमक्षतान् समर्पयामि अलङ्करणार्थमक्षतान् समर्पयामि दिव्यपरिमलगन्धां धारयामि। गन्धस्योपरि हरिद्रा कुङ्कुमं समर्पयामि। सपरिवारसहित विश्वक्षेण महावल्लभगणपतये नमः गन्धां धारयामि हरिद्रा कुङ्कुमं समर्पयामि पुष्पैः पूजयामि। ओ महावल्लभगणपत्यासनाय नमः। ओ महावल्लभगणपतिमूर्तये नमः। ओ महावल्लभगणपतये नमः। ओ विश्वक्षेणाय नमः। ओ श्रीपदे नमः। ओ सूत्रपतिनाथाय नमः। ओ वेत्रभाणये नमः। ओं प्रभाकर समप्रभाय नमः। ओ विश्वरक्षापराय नमः। ओ ऋषिकेशाय नमः। ओ हरिवक्त्राय नमः। ओ सूत्रपति समेत विश्वक्षेणाय नमः। धूपम् आग्रापयामि। ओं दोरुदोरुदोरुन्दं दोरुदं जोत्मान् दोर्वतिदं दोर्वजं वजं दोर्वामः धूपमाग्रापयामि। सूत्रवती अम्बिका समेत विश्वक्षेणाय नमः। दीपं दर्शयामि निवेदयामि। भूर्भुवस्सुवः अमृते अमृतारण्ये अमृतोद्भवे अमृतवर्षे अमृतं श्राव्य सुरभिमुद्रां समर्प्य ओं एकदन्ताय विद्महे वक्रतुण्डाय धीमहि तन्नो दन्ती प्रचोदयात्। पुरुषाय विद्महे वेत्रहस्ताय धीमहि तन्नः शान्तः प्रचोदयात्। आचार्याः पुनरक्षतानाथाय प्राणानायम्य हरिः ओम्। ओं तत्सत्। गोविन्द गोविन्द गोविन्द। अद्य श्रीभगवतः महापुरुषस्य विष्णोः आज्ञया प्रवर्तमानस्य अद्य ब्रह्मणः द्वितीयपरार्थे श्वेतवराहकल्पे वैवस्वतमन्वन्तरे अष्टाविंशतितमे कलौ युगे ऐन्द्रखण्डे रमणकवर्षे ग्रौञ्चदीपे समस्त हरिहर ब्राह्मण गुरुसन्निधौ सगाब्दे अस्मिन् वर्धमानकाल व्यापहारिके प्रभवात् संवत्सराणामध्ये इदानीं शोभकृतनाम संवत्सरे दक्षिणायने वर्षरतो कन्यामासे शुक्लपक्ष पौर्णमास्यां शुभदिदो वासरः गुरुवार संयुक्तायां नक्षत्रः उत्तरप्रोष्ठपदा नक्षत्र संयुक्तायां शुभनक्षत्र शुभयोग शुभकरण एवं गुणविशेषेण विशिष्टायां अस्यां वर्धमानायां अस्यां शुभतितो श्री भगवत्ताज्ञा भगवत् कैंकर्यरूपं भगवत् भावदाचार्याणां दिव्यसन्निधौ विराजमानस्य अस्य देवदेवोत्तमस्य देवदास सार्वभौमस्य अखिलाण्डकोटि ब्रह्माण्डनायकस्य परात्परवासुदेवस्य आश्रितजनपरिपालकस्य अपारकारुण्यसौलस्य वात्सल्य ऐश्वर्यसौन्दर्यमहोतताः जगत्कुटुंबिनः जगद्रक्षणार्थ अवतीर्णस्य श्रीरमादेव्या समेत वीरवेंकट सत्यनारायण स्वामी प्रीत्यर्थं प्रसाद सिद्धर्थं शुक्लपक्ष विशेष पौर्णमास्यां विशेषतः श्री सत्यनारायण स्वामी व्रतपूजांगकर्मणि सर्वेषां भक्तमहाजनानाम् अस्मिन् महावल्लभगणपति दिव्यसन्निधौ आगतानाम् अनागतानां सर्वेषां भक्तमहाजनानां क्षेमस्थैर्य वीर्य विजय आयुरारोग्यैश्वर्य अभिवृद्ध्यर्थ अनेक भक्तगृहे अष्टलक्ष्मी नित्यनिवासदर्थं धर्मार्थकाममोक्ष चतुर्विधफलपुरुषार्थ सिद्धर्थं जागृत स्वप्न सुषुप्ति अवस्थात्रय मनोभाक्ताय समजनितदोष पीठा परिहारार्थ आध्यात्मिकादि दैविकादि भौतिक तापत्रयादि समस्त कोटि निवारणार्थं लोहक्षेमार्थ लोह कल्याणार्थं लोके नगरे स्थले विद्वन् महाजनानां पशु पक्षि जावरजंगमस्थानाम् अनेक भक्त महाजनानाम् उभयकर्तॄणां क्षेमारोग्यदासदर्थं श्री रमादेव्या समेत वीरवेंकट सत्यनारायण स्वामी प्रसाद सिद्धर्थं सर्वेषां भक्तमहाजनानां सकलविध सन्मांगल्य प्राप्त्यर्थ अप्राप्त लक्ष्मी प्राप्त्यर्थं प्राप्त लक्ष्मी स्थिरकाल संरक्षणार्थं धनगणक वस्तुवाहनादि अभिवृद्ध्यर्थ आयुरारोग्य सिद्धर्थं विशेषतः श्री सत्यनारायण स्वामी अनुग्रह सिद्धर्थम् आचार्य मुखेन श्री सत्यनारायण व्रतपूजां कर्म करिष्ये अपौपस्पृश्य आवाहनादि सूत्रवती समेत विस्तक्षेण महावल्लभगणपते नमः समस्तोपचारां समर्पयामि वक्रतुण्डभागाय शूद्यकोटिसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वविस्तक्षेण महागणपति प्रार्थनां समर्पयामि विस्तक्षेण महागणपतिं यथास्थानं प्रतिष्ठापयामि शोभनार्थे क्षेमाय पुनरा आगमनाय च प्रसादे शिरसे गृह्णामि विस्तक्षेण महागणपते प्रसाद सिद्धिरस्तु पूर्वोक्त संकल्प प्रकारेण श्री आदित्यादि नवग्रह देवता परिपूर्ण अनुग्रह प्रसाद सिद्धर्थं श्री सत्यनारायण स्वामी व्रतपूजांग कर्मणि आदित्यादि नवग्रह दोष निवारण सिद्धर्थम् अनेन भक्त महाजनानां जातकवशात् आदिव्यादि नवानां ग्रहाणां नवग्रहादि दोष निवारण सिद्ध नवग्रह आराधनं करिष्ये अस्मिन् नवग्रह मंडल मध्ये आदित्यं ध्यायामि आदित्यम् आवाहयामि आदित्याय नमः जपाकुटुंब संकाशं काश्यपेयं महद्विधिं तमोरिं सर्वभावग्नं प्रणतोऽस्मि दिवाकरम् अश्वत्थजाय विद्महे पद्महस्ताय धीमहि तन्नः सूर्यः प्रचोदयात् रक्तवर्णं रक्तगन्धं रक्तपुष्पं रक्तगन्धानुलेपितं मेरोः प्रदक्षिणे गुरुमानं शाङ्काय सायुधाय सपरिवाराय श्री आदित्यग्रहं ध्यायामि आवाहयामि सर्वोपचारैः समर्पयामि अर्घ्यं साधयित्वा सूर्यस्य आग्नेयदिग्भागे चन्द्राय नमः दतिशङ्गतुषारामं क्षीरोदार्णवसम्भवं नमामि शशिनं सोमं शम्भोर्मकुटभूषणं चन्द्राय नमः सोमं निशाकराय विद्महे कलानादाय धीमहि तन्नश्चन्द्रः श्वेतवर्णं श्वेतवस्त्रं श्वेतगन्धं श्वेतपुष्पं श्वेतगन्धानुलेपितं दिव्यमेरु प्रदक्षिणे गुरुवानं साङ्गाय सायुधाय सक्तेश परिवाराय सर्वालङ्कारशोभिताय चन्द्रग्रहं ध्यायामि आवाहयामि अर्घ्यं दत्त्वा सूर्यस्य दक्षिणदिग्भागे अंगारहाय नमः अंगारहं ध्यायामि धरणीगर्भसम्भूतं विद्युत्काञ्चनसन्निभं कुमारं शक्तिहस्तं च मङ्गलं प्रणमाम्यहम् अंगारकाय विद्महे भूमिपालाय धीमहि तन्नो भौमः प्रचोदयात् रक्तवर्णं रक्तवस्त्रं रक्तगन्धं रक्तपुष्पं रक्तगन्धानुलेपितं दिव्यमेरु प्रदक्षिणे गुरुवानं साङ्काय सायुधाय सशक्तये शपरिवाराय महाश्री अंगारहं ध्यायामि अंगारहम् आवाहयामि अर्घ्यं दत्त्वा सूर्यस्य ऐशान्यदिग्भागे बुधाय नमः प्रियङ्गुगलिका श्यामं रूपेण प्रतिमं सौम्यं सौम्यगुणोपेदं तं बुधं प्रणमाम्यहं बुधाय नमः बुधग्रहाय विद्महे इन्दुपुत्राय धीमहि तन्नः सौम्यः प्रचोदयात् बुधाय नमः श्यामवर्णं श्यामवस्त्रं श्यामहसक्तं श्यामपुष्पं श्यामगन्धानुलेपितं दिव्यमेरु प्रदक्षिणे गुरुवानं शाङ्गाय सायुधाय सशक्तये शबरिवाराय बुधं ध्यायामि बुधमावाहयामि अर्घ्यं दत्त्वा सूर्यस्य उत्तरदिग्भागे गुरुर्ग्रहस्वामिने नमः गुरुं ध्यायामि गुरुमावाहयामि देवानां ऋषीणां च गुरुं काञ्चनसन्निभं बुद्धिभूतं त्रिलोकेशं तन्नमामि बृहस्पतिम् ओं बृहस्पति नमः सुराचार्याय विद्महे सुरश्रेष्ठाय धीमहि तन्नो गुरु प्रचोदयात् गणक ओं गणकवर्णं गणकवस्त्रं गणकगन्धं गणकपुष्पं गणकगन्धानुलेपितं दिव्यमेरु प्रदक्षिणे कुर्वाणं साङ्गाय सायुधाय सशक्तेश परिवाराय गुरुं ध्यायामि गुरुम् आवाहयामि अर्घ्यं दत्त्वा सूर्यस्य पूर्वदिग्भागे शुक्राय नमः हिमकुन्दप्रणालापं दैत्यानां परमं गुरुं सर्वशास्त्रप्रवक्तारं भार्गवं प्रणमाम्यहं रजदाभाय विद्महे बृहस्पताय धीमहि तन्नः शुक्रप्रचोदयात् ॐ स्वेदवर्णं स्वेदवस्त्रं स्वेदगन्धं स्वेदवस्त्रं स्वेदपुष्पं स्वेदगन्धानुलेपितं दिव्यमेरु प्रदक्षिणे कुर्वाणं शाङ्गाय सायुधाय सशक्तये शबरिवाराय शुक्रं ध्यायामि शुक्रमावाहयामि अर्घ्यं दत्त्वा सूर्यस्य पश्चिमदिग्भागे शनैश्चराय नमः नीलाञ्जनसमाभाषं रविपुत्रं यमाग्रजं छायामार्दाण्डसम्भूतं तं नमामि शनैश्चरं गणमहाश्री काकध्वजाय विद्महे खड्गहस्ताय धीमहि तन्नो मन्दप्रचोदयात् कृष्णवर्णं कृष्णवस्त्रं कृष्णगन्धं कृष्णपुष्पं कृष्णगन्धानुलेपितं दिव्यमेरु प्रदक्षिणे कुर्वाणं शाङ्काय सायुधाय सशक्तये शबरिवाराय शनैश्चरं ध्यायामि शनैश्चरमावाहयामि अर्घ्यं दत्त्वा सूर्यस्य नैऋती दिग्भागे राघवे नमः अर्धगायं महावीर्यं चन्द्रादित्यमर्दनं सिंहिकागर्भसम्भूतं तं राहुं प्रणमाम्यहो राघवे नमः सूगदन्ताय विद्महे उग्ररूपाय धीमहि तन्नो राहुः प्रचोदयात् धूम्रवर्णं धूम्रवस्त्रं धूम्रगन्धं धूम्रपुष्पं धूम्रगन्धानुलेपितं दिव्यमेरु प्रदक्षिणे कुर्वाणं शाङ्काय सायुधाय सशक्तये शबरिवाराय राहुं ध्यायामि राहुमावाहयामि अर्घ्यं दत्त्वा सूर्यस्य वायोर्दिग्भागे ओं केतवे नमः पलासपुष्पसङ्गाढं तारकाग्रहमस्तकं रौद्रं रौद्रात्मकं घोरं तं केतुं प्रणमाम्यहो चित्रवर्णाय विद्महे सर्परूपाय धीमहि तन्नः केतुः प्रचोदयात् चित्रगन्धं चित्रवस्त्रं चित्रवर्णं चित्रगन्धं चित्रपुष्पं चित्रगन्धानुलेपितं दिव्यमेरु प्रदक्षिणे कुर्वाणं शाङ्काय सायुधाय सशक्तये शबरिवाराय केतुं ध्यायामि केतुम् आवाहयामि अर्घ्यं दत्त्वा महाश्री केतवे नमः गणपतिं प्रार्थ्य आदित्यादिनवग्रहस्वामिने नमः आवाहयामि सर्वोपचारैः पूज्य अर्घ्यं दत्त्वा गणपतिं ध्यायामि आवाहयामि अर्घ्यं दत्त्वा दुर्गादेवीं ध्यायामि आवाहयामि अर्घ्यं दत्त्वा वास्तुपुरुषं ध्यायामि आवाहयामि अर्घ्यं दत्त्वा अभयङ्करं ध्यायामि आवाहयामि अर्घ्यं दत्त्वा क्षेत्रपालकं ध्यायामि आवाहयामि अर्घ्यं दत्त्वा गन्धद्वारां दुरादृढा नित्यपुट्टाङ्ग्रेषिणीं ईश्वरीं सर्वभूतानां तामिहो भक्तये श्रियम् ॐ श्री आवाहन महालक्ष्मीं ध्यायामि लक्ष्मीनारायणं ध्यायामि आवाहयामि वाणी हिरण्यगर्भाभ्यां ध्यायामि आवाहयामि उमामहेश्वराभ्यां ध्यायामि आवाहयामि इन्द्राय नमः अग्नये नमः यमाय नमः निरुदये नमः वरुणाय नमः वायवे नमः कुबेराय नमः ईशानाय नमः अष्टदिग्बालकासनाय नमः आवाहयामि ध्यायामि अर्घ्यं दत्त्वा पञ्चलोकबालकाय नमः आवाहयामि अर्घ्यं दत्त्वा सकल आवाहनदेवताभ्यो नमः धूपदीपं निवेद्यं ध्यायामि धूपमाग्रापयामि ओं धूर्वदूर्वदूर्वन्दं दूर्वधं योऽस्मान् दूर्वधितं दूर्वजं वजं दूर्वामः उद्दीप्य स्वजातवेदो भग्नं निरृधिं मम पशुगिष्टमख्यमावह जीवनं जदिषो दिशा दीपं दर्शयामि भूर्भुवस्वः अमृते मृदारण्ये अमृतोद्भवे मृतवर्षिणि अमृतं श्रावय श्रावय स्वाहा विशेषफलम् अमृतफलं निवेदयामि आचमनं समर्पयामि शुरभिमुद्रां प्रदर्श्य प्रार्थ्य आदित्याय च सोमाय मङ्गलाय बुधाय च गुरुशुक्रशनेभ्यश्च राहवे केदवे नमः अनेन कूडी प्रार्थनाञ्जलिं समर्पयामि आचार्याः कलशपूजां कृत्वा विष्णोरराडमसि विष्णोः पृष्णमसि विष्णोस्य प्रेहस्तो विष्णोस्यूरसि विष्णोर्ध्रुवमसि वैष्णवमसि विष्णवे त्वा गन्धद्वारां दुरादर्शा नित्यपुट्टाङ्गिरीषिणीं ईश्वरीकं सर्वभूतानां तामिहोपक्वये श्रियम् आभो वा इदकं सर्वं विश्वा भूतान्यापप्राणावापपशवापो नभापो मृतमावश्रम्राडापो विराडापश्वराडापश्चन्दागिष्यापो ज्योतिगिष्यापो यजुगिष्याप सद्यमाभ सर्वा देवतापो भूर्भुवस्सु वराभवो देवस्यत्वासु विदप्रसवे अश्विनोर्बाहुभ्यां पूष्णो हस्ताभ्याम् ॐ आं व्रीं क्रूं क्रूं ह्रीं आं अं यं रं लं वं शं 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 सं हं लं क्षं अह हंसस्सोऽहंसः आवाहितो भव स्थापितो भव सन्निधो भव सन्निरुद्धो भव अवगुण्डितो भव सुप्रीतो भव सुप्रसन्नो भव स्वामिन् प्रसीद प्रसीद स्वामिन् सर्वजगन्नाथ यावत् भुजावसानकं तावत् त्वं प्रीतिभावेन कुम्भीष्मिन् सन्निधिं गुरु श्रीरमादेव्या समेत सत्यनारायणस्वामिं ध्यायामि आवाहयामि प्राणप्रतिष्ठमुहूर्त्वा शुभमुहूर्तोऽस्तु ओं द्वारपूजा पूर्वद्वारे वोहां जयायै नमः वोहां विजयायै नमः दक्षिणद्वारे वोहां नन्दायै नमः वोहां सुनन्दायै नमः पश्चिमद्वारे वोहां बालायै नमः वोहां प्रबलायै नमः उत्तरद्वारे वोहां कुमुदायै नमः वोहां कुमुदाक्षी नमः ओं द्वारदेवताभ्यो नमः अर्घ्यं दत्त्वा ओं हस्तमात् पुष्पमादाय नीलवर्णं पीतवस्त्रं ध्यायेत् श्रीवत्सभूषितं गोविन्दं गोकुलानन्दं ब्रह्माद्रि कविभूषितं श्री सत्यनारायणस्वामिने नमः ध्यायामि आवाहयामि आवाहने गुणातीतं सत्यनारायणप्रभुं लोकनाथं त्रिलोकेशं कौस्तुभा अभरप्रदम् ओं श्री सत्यनारायणस्वामिने नमः आवाहयामि ओं क्षीराप्तौ शेष शयन शाजिने परमात्मने धर्मादिचरणं वेदैः धृतं रत्नासनं परं श्री सत्यनारायणस्वामिने नमः आसनं समर्पयामि व्यक्ताव्यक्तस्वरूपाय ऋषिक पदये नमः मया निवेदितोद्भक्त्या अर्घ्येयं प्रतिगृह्यतां श्री सत्यनारायणस्वामिने नमः अर्घ्यं समर्पयामि नारायण नमस्तुभ्यं नरकार्णवतारकः पाद्यं गृहाण देवेश मम सौख्यं विवर्तय सत्यनारायणस्वामिने नमः पाद्यं समर्पयामि मन्दाकिन्यास्त्यध्वारी सर्वभावाहरं शुभं दरितं कल्पितं देव सम्यक् सम्यदां द्वया श्री सत्यनारायणस्वामिने नमः आचमनं समर्पयामि स्नानं पञ्चामृतैर्देव गृहाण पुरुषोत्तम अनादनादसौहृद्य गीर्वाण प्रणतिप्रियः सत्यनारायणस्वामिने नमः पञ्चामृतस्नानं समर्पयामि वेदसूक्तसमायुक्तं यज्ञसामसमन्विते स्वरवर्णप्रदे देवः वासवि प्रतिगृह्यतां श्री सत्यनारायणस्वामिने नमः वस्त्रयुग्मं समर्पयामि ब्रह्मविष्णुमहेश्वरस्य निर्मितं ब्रह्मसूत्रकं तेन यज्ञोपवीतेन प्रीयतां कमलापतिः श्री सत्यनारायणस्वामिने नमः यज्ञोपवीतं समर्पयामि ओं श्रीगण्डं चन्दनं दिव्यं गन्धाढ्यं सुमनोहरं विलेपनं सुरश्रेष्ठं चन्दनं प्रतिगृह्यतां श्री सत्यनारायणस्वामिने नमः गन्धां धारयामि हरिद्रा कुङ्कुमं समर्पयामि मल्लिकादिसुगन्धी च मालाध्यादीनि वै प्रभोः मया कृतानि पूजार्थं पुष्पाणि प्रतिगृह्यतां सत्यनारायणस्वामिने नमः पुष्पाणि समर्पयामि अङ्गपूजां करिष्ये ओं सत्यनारायणस्वामिने नमः पादौ पूजयामि ओं शेषशायिने नमः पुष्पौ पूजयामि ओं कालस्वरूपिणे नमः जङ्गे पूजयामि ओं विश्वरूपाय नमः जानुनी पूजयामि ओं जगन्नाथाय नमः मुख्यं पूजयामि ओं कमलनाथाय नमः नाभिं पूजयामि ओं जगद्गुक्षये नमः कुक्षिं पूजयामि ओं लक्ष्मीविलसत्वक्षसे नमः वक्षस्थलं पूजयामि ओं सक्रादिहस्ताय नमः हस्तान् पूजयामि ओम चतुर्भागवे नमः बाहून् पूजयामि ओम श्रीकण्ठाय नमः कण्ठं पूजयामि ओम चन्द्रमुखाय नमः मुखं पूजयामि ओम सत्यवाचसे नमः वक्त्रं पूजयामि ओम श्रीच्छाय नमः नासिकां पूजयामि ओम रवीन्द्रलोचनाय नमः नेत्रो पूजयामि ओम दिग्धरस्त्राय नमः स्तोत्रे पूजयामि ओम सर्वव्यापिने नमः शिरः पूजयामि सत्यनारायण स्वामिने नमः सर्वांगं पूजयामि। अतः सत्यनारायण स्वामी अष्टोत्तर शतनामार्चन पूजां करिष्ये। ओम सत्यदेवाय नमः ओम सत्यात्मने नमः ओम सत्यभूताय नमः ओम सत्यपुरुषाय नमः ओम सत्यनाथाय नमः ओम सत्यसाक्षिणे नमः ओम सत्ययोगाय नमः ओम सत्यज्ञानाय नमः ओम सत्यज्ञानप्रियाय नमः ओम सत्यनिधये नमः ओम सत्यसंभवाय नमः ओम सत्यप्रभवे नमः ओम सत्येश्वराय नमः ओम सत्यकामिने नमः ओम सत्यपवित्राय नमः ओम सत्यमंगलाय नमः ओम सत्यकल्पाय नमः ओम सत्यप्रजापतये नमः ओम सत्यविक्रमाय नमः ओम सत्यसिद्धाय नमः ओम सत्याच्युताय नमः ओम सत्यवीराय नमः ओम सत्यभूताय नमः ओम सत्यधर्माय नमः ओम सत्यक्रजाय नमः ओम सत्यसन्तुष्टाय नमः ओम सत्यवरागाय नमः ओम सत्यपरायणाय नमः ओम सत्यपूर्णाय नमः ओम सत्य औषधाय नमः ओम सत्यशाश्वताय नमः ओम सत्यप्रवर्तनाय नमः ओम सत्यविभवे नमः ओम सत्यज्येष्ठाय नमः ओम सत्यश्रेष्ठाय नमः ओम सत्यविक्रमणे नमः ओम सत्यधन्विने नमः ओम सत्यमेधाय नमः ओम सत्यधीराय नमः ओम सत्यकृतवे नमः ओम सत्यकलाय नमः ओम सत्यवत्सलाय नमः ओम सत्यवासवे नमः ओम सत्यमोगाय नमः ओम सत्यामृतरुद्राय नमः ओम सत्यब्रह्मणे नमः ओम सत्यामृताय नमः ओम सत्यवेदांगाय नमः ओम सत्यचतुरात्मने नमः ओम सत्यभोक्त्रे नमः ओम सत्यसुजयाय नमः ओम सत्यार्चिताय नमः ओम सत्येन्द्राय नमः ओम सत्यसंगाय नमः ओम सत्यस्वर्गाय नमः ओम सत्यनियमय नमः ओम सत्यवेदाय नमः ओम सत्यवेद्याय नमः ओम सत्यपीयूषाय नमः ओम सत्यमायाय नमः ओम सत्यमोहाय नमः ओम सत्यसुरानन्दाय नमः ओम सत्यसागराय नमः ओम सत्यतमसे नमः ओम सत्यसिंहाय नमः ओम सत्यमृगाय नमः ओम सत्यलोकबालकाय नमः ओम सत्यस्थिराय नमः ओम सत्यानन्दाय नमः ओम सत्यदिक्बालाय नमः ओम सत्यधनुर्धराय नमः ओम सत्यभुजाय नमः ओम सत्यभाग्याय नमः ओम सत्यगुरवे नमः ओम सत्यध्यायाय नमः ओम सत्यसाक्षिणे नमः ओम सत्यामृताय नमः ओम सत्यसम्प्रदाय नमः ओम सत्यवन्नवे नमः ओम सत्यवायवे नमः ओम सत्यानन्दाय नमः ओम सत्यनीरजाय नमः ओम सत्यश्रीपादाय नमः ओम सत्यगुप्त्याय नमः ओम सत्योदराय नमः ओम सत्यहृदयाय नमः ओम सत्यनासाय नमः ओम सत्यहस्ताय नमः ओम सत्यभागवे नमः ओम सत्यजिह्वाय नमः ओम सत्यमुख्याय नमः ओम सत्यदंष्ट्राय नमः ओम सत्यनासिकाय नमः ओम सत्यस्तोत्रे नमः ओम सत्यशिरसे नमः ओम सत्यमूढाय नमः ओम सत्याम्बराय नमः ओम सत्य आवरणाय नमः सत्य आयुधाय नमः ओम सत्यश्रीवल्लभाय नमः सत्यगुप्ताय नमः ओम सत्यधृताय नमः ओम सत्यनारायणारदाय नमः रूपिणे नमः ओम सत्यनारायण स्वामिने नमः दूर्वन्दं दूर्वदं योऽस्मान् दूर्वदिदं दूर्वजं भजं दूर्वामः स्वामिने नमः धूपम् आग्रापयामि जातवेदो भक्तं हृदिं मम पशुगित्यमख्यमावह जीवनं च दिशो दिशा दीपं दर्शयामि मधुवाधारदायते माध्वीर्नः सन्दोषधीः मधुनक्तमुदोषधि मधुमत्पार्थिवगं रजः मधुद्योरस्तु नः पिता मधुमान्नो वनस्पतिर्मधुमागुम् अस्तु सूर्यः माध्वीर्गावो भवन्तु नः मधो 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 सत्यनारायण स्वामिने नमः विशेषान्नं निवेदयामि कुलपिट्टं निवेदयामि आचमनं समर्पयामि सर्वस्याप्ते सर्वस्य जुब्धे आप्नोति सर्वं जयति सत्यनारायण स्वामिने नमः दिव्यमङ्गलज्योतिः वेद पुष्पवान् प्रजावान् वृषवान् भवति चन्द्रमा वां पुष्पवान् प्रजावान् वृषवान् भवति य एवं वेद यो वामायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति राजाधिराजाय प्रसज्ञसाजिने नमो वयं वै श्रवणाय कुर्महे तमे कामान् कामकामाय मह्यो कामेश्वरो वै श्रवणो ददातु महाराजाय नमः ॐ तद्ब्रह्म ॐ तद्वायुः ॐ तदात्मा ॐ तत्सत्यम् ॐ तत्सर्वम् ॐ तत्पुरोर्नमः अन्तश्चरति भूतेषु गुहायां विश्वमूर्तिषु तं यज्ञस्तं षट्कारस्तं इन्द्रस्तं रुद्रस्तं विष्णुत्वं ब्रह्मत्वं प्रजापतिः तं ददापो ज्योतिरशोमृतं ब्रह्मभूर्भुवस्सु परो ॐ नारायणाय विद्महे वाज धीमहि तन्नो विष्णु प्रचोदयात् सत्य विद्महे विष्णुपत्नी धीमहि तन्नो लक्ष्मी प्रचोदयात् वेदोक्तमन्त्रपुष्पाञ्जलिं समर्पयामि यानि यानि च पापानि जन्मान्तरकृतानि च तानि तानि विनश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणं पदे पदे प्रहृष्टपापनाशाय प्रहृष्टफलसिद्धये प्रदक्षिणं करोमि त्वा प्रसीद पुरुषोत्तम अन्यथा शरणं नास्ति स्वमेव शरणं मम तस्मात् कारुण्यभावेन रक्ष रक्ष जनार्दन महादेवानुः सत्यनारायण स्वामिने नमः अनन्तकोटि प्रदक्षिण नमस्काराञ्जलिं समर्पयामि हरिः ओम् अग्निमीले पुरोहितं यज्ञस्य देववृद्धुजं ओदारं रत्नदातमं हरिः ओम् इषेत्तोर्जे त्वा वायवस्तो वायवस्तदेवो वस्तविदात् प्रार्पयदुश्रेष्ठतमाय कर्मणे हरिः ओम् अग्नः जागिभीतये गृहाणो हव्यदातये निगोदातस्य परिगिषि हरिः ओम् सन्नो देवीरभिष्टय आपो भवन्तु भीतये तय्योरभिश्रवन्तुनः हरिः ओम् शन्नो मित्रः संवरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः तन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वाजो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि कृतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवदो तद्भक्तारमवदो अवधु माम् अवधु भक्तारम् ॐ शान्तिः आद्यं पुरुषमीशानं पुरुहूतं पुरस्कृतं परमेकाक्षरं ब्रह्म व्यक्ताव्यक्तकं सनातनो स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महिं महीषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभम् अस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु नारायणाय विद्महे वासुदेवाय धीमहि तन्नो विष्णु प्रचोदयात् इदं विष्णुर्विचक्रमे त्रेधा निदते पदं समूढवस्य भागो सुरे रमादेवी अंबिका समेत सत्यनारायण स्वामिने नमः दिव्यमंगलज्योतिः जय बोलो श्री सत्यनारायण स्वामी की जय ओम नमो नारायणाय 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 समर्प्य
It is now time to hear Satyanarayana Katha, chapter 1. Once upon a time, the great Shaunak Muni and 88,000 other rishis assembled in the forest called Naimisharanya. Maharishi Suta, who was well versed in narrating the Puranas, was also present at that time. Shaunak Muni and asked Maharishi Suta, O Maharishi, please tell us about a way by which mankind can attain moksha. Maharishi Suta answered, even the great sage Narada asked Lord Vishnu the very same question. Listen very carefully as I am going to tell you what Lord Vishnu himself told Narada Muni. During his travels to the various worlds, sage Narada came to visit the earth. There he saw people suffering in their lives due to their past karmas. Narada Muni was moved by witnessing such suffering and thought of Lord Narayana, who is ever so kind and full of love for his devotees. So sage Narada traveled to Vaikunta, the abode of Lord Narayana. There he saw the beautiful sight of Lord Vishnu adorned with his conch, discus, mace and lotus in his 4 hands and with a garland around his neck. Narada spoke humbly, O Supreme Lord, the Savior of the destitute and the troubled, I surrender at thy feet. Lord Vishnu asked, Dear Narada, why you have come here? Tell me what is troubling you and what you want, and I will fulfill all your wishes. Narada replied, O Bhagwan, people on the earth are suffering in many ways as a result of their past sinful deeds. Please bestow thy grace and tell me how they can be helped and how to end their suffering. Lord Narayana spoke to Narada as follows. Narada, because of your kindness and your wish to help mankind, you have asked me these questions, and because of my kinship with you, I will give you the answers. Mankind can rid of all its sufferings by observing the Satyanarayana vrata. This vrata, when performed according to the religious rites, will bring happiness, peace of mind and prosperity in this life and moksha beyond. On hearing these words, Narada was filled with joy and said, O Lord, in your infinite grace, please tell me the details involved in observing this vrata and the fruit and positive effects of such observances. Then Lord Narayana replied, on a full moon day, one must gather one's friends and relatives, perform the puja in the evening with devotion, and offer fruits, ghee, milk, butter, wheat flour, sugar, honey, and other materials to the Lord. After the puja is finished, the story of Lord Satyanarayana must be read to one and all present for the puja. After reading this story, prasada must be distributed to one and all. The assembled Brahmins must also be fed and gift must be given to them. If the puja is thus performed, it will bring fulfillment of one's wishes. Particularly in this Kali Yuga, this will bring contentment to the devotees observing the puja. With this, we end the chapter 1 of Satyanarayana Katha of Revakanta of the Skanda Purana. Bolo Sri Satyanarayana Bhagavani ki jai. Narayanaya Vitmahe Vasudevaya Dhimahe. Tanno Vishnu Prachodayat. Bolo Sri Satyanarayana Bhagavani ki jai. Now let us hear the second chapter. Maharishi Suta continued his narration. O learned rishis, let me tell you the stories about devotees who performed this puja in the past and achieved greatness. Once there lived a poor Brahmin in the city of Kashi. Plagued by his hunger, he used to wander around every day. Lord Vishnu, who is all kindness, appeared before the poor Brahmin in the form of an old man and asked, Why are you wandering around aimlessly? The poor Brahmin replied, Sir, I am very poor Brahmin, unable to bear pangs of hunger. I wander around begging for alms. If you know a way to help me out of my misery, pray, tell me please. Whereupon Lord Vishnu, who was in the guise of an old man, said, O Brahmin, Lord Satyanarayana bestows his grace on his devotees, removes their sorrows. So you should also observe this vrata and reap its benefit. Lord Vishnu then explained the details of the puja to the poor Brahmin and disappeared. The poor Brahmin immediately resolved to perform the Satyanarayana puja. After a sleepless night, he got up early in the morning and went to beg for alms. His mind was fixed only on the puja. That day, he got a lot of money with which he bought the necessary materials prescribed to him earlier by the Lord himself and performed the puja with his friends and relatives. With the grace of Lord Satyanarayana, he was able to come out of his poverty and lead a contented life. He continued performing this puja every month on a full moon day and finally attained moksha. The assembled rishis who were listening to the Maharishi then asked, O great one, please tell us in detail who else performed this puja. Maharishi Suta then continued his narration. One day when the poor Brahmin from Kashi was performing the puja, a woodcutter entered his house and asked for water. Seeing the puja being performed, the woodcutter inquired about the puja and its purpose. The Brahmin from Kashi, who is now prosperous due to Lord Satyanarayana's grace, spoke as follows. This is called the Satyanarayana Pooja. Anyone who performs this puja will get riches. I myself have been bestowed with wealth. The woodcutter was delighted to hear about this puja. He learned the proper way to perform the puja, ate the prasad, and went on his way. With Lord Satyanarayana in his thought, he resolved in his mind that he will perform the puja with whatever money he made that day. He went to the area in the city where rich people lived and sold the wood for a good profit. With that money, he bought ghee, sugar, honey, butter, curd, milk, flour, and fruit, and all other materials prescribed to him, and performed the puja properly with devotion, along with his friends and relatives. By Lord Satyanarayana's grace, he too acquired enormous wealth and lived comfortably and attained moksha. With this, we end chapter 2 of Satyanarayana Katha in the Reva Kanta of Skanda Purana. Bholo Sri Satyanarayana Bhagavan ki jai. Narayanaya Vitmahe Vasudevaya Dhimahi Tanno Vishnu Prachodayat. Bolo Sri Satyanarayana Bhagavan ki jai. Now let us hear the third chapter. Maharishi Sutta continued, O best of ascetic, I will tell you yet another story. Long time ago, there lived a wise king called Alkamukha. He had mastered all his senses and always spoke the truth. He went to the temple every day and gave gift to the learned Brahmins. His lotus-faced wife was a pure and pious woman. One day, the royal couple was performing the Satyanarayana Pooja on the bank of the river Bhadrashila. At that time, a merchant called Sadu sailed by on a boat full of merchandise. Seeing the king performing the puja, Sadu stopped the boat, got off, and addressed the king humbly. O king, would you kindly tell me what you are doing with such devotion and concentration? The king replied, O Sadhu, I have no children. In order that I may be blessed with children, I am worshipping the Almighty Lord Satyanarayana. On hearing this, Sadhu said to the king softly and with respect, O king, kindly let me know how to perform the puja. I would also like to observe this vrata as I too have no children. The king proceeded to give Sadhu the merchant all the details about performing the puja. The king proceeded to give Sadhu the merchant all the details about performing the puja. Thus Sadhu returned home happily and told his wife about his encounter with the king and informed her that he has resolved to perform the Satyanarayana Pooja after a child is born. By divine grace, Sadhu's wife Leelavati conceived a child, and in due course a beautiful daughter was born to Sadhu and his wife. They named their daughter as Kalavati. Sadhu did not perform the puja after the daughter's birth, and Leelavati dutifully reminded him about his promise to perform the puja. Sadhu said he will perform the puja once his daughter Kalavati gets married. Sadhu then put the whole matter out of his mind and carried on with his work and his daily life. In the meantime, Kalavati grew up and blossomed into a lovely girl. Sadhu sent out word to find a suitable groom for his daughter. One of his messengers found a young and handsome boy from a Vaishya family from Kanchananagar. Sadhu found the boy to be a suitable match for his beautiful daughter, Kalavati. He celebrated his daughter's wedding with great pomp and show. But unfortunately, Sadhu completely forgot about his promise to perform the Satyanarayana Pooja, for which he was soon to learn a big lesson about the importance of keeping serious promises, especially ones that are related to the kind and all-knowing Lord Satyanarayana. One day, Sadhu set out on a business trip with his son-in-law. He stopped to trade in the city of Ratnapura, which was ruled by King Chandraketu. Then the event started to unfold as per the will of Lord Satyanarayana. Some thieves robbed King Chandraketu's treasury and were running away. The king's soldiers gave them a hot pursuit. The frightened thief threw all the things they had stolen from the palace near Sadu and his son-in-law's boat. The king's soldiers found the stolen goods near Sadu and his son-in-law, and hence arrested them and brought them before the king. Lord Satyanarayana's Maya was in full force by now. Without proper questioning, the king ordered that Sadhu and his son-in-law be chained and thrown into prison. Again, because of Maya of the Lord, no one paid any attention to what Sadu had to say in his own defense. King Chandraketu's soldier had also confiscated all the merchandise of Sadu and his son-in-law. Meanwhile, some robbers broke into Sadhu's house at his hometown and stole all the valuables. Hence, Sadhu's family therefore lost all their possessions. One day, due to extreme hunger, Kalavati left the house and wandered around looking for food. She arrived at a house where Satyanarayana Pooja was being performed. When the puja finished, she gladly accepted and ate the prasad that was handed to her. Leelavati asked her daughter where she had been, and Kalavati narrated her experience about Satyanarayana Pooja in some Brahmin's house. Now Leelavati remembered her husband's promise about performing the puja. She resolved to observe the vrata by herself. She assembled her relatives and friends, performed the puja, and prayed that he forgive all the sins committed by her family. The magnanimous Lord was pleased with Leelavati's prayer. He appeared in King Chandraketu's dream and ordered him to release Sadu and his son-in-law as they were really innocent. Lord Satyanarayana also warned the king that he must follow the order or else he will face terrible consequences and risk of losing his kingdom and his family. Next morning, King Chandraketu informed his counselors about his dream and ordered that the two merchants be freed. Sadhu and his son-in-law stood before the king in fright, whereas the king asked them for their forgiveness for his mistake and gave them large gifts and also returned their merchandise, his soldiers who had confiscated from them. The king then bade farewell to Sadhu and his son-in-law. With this, we end chapter 3 of Satyanarayana Katha in the Revakanta of Skanda Purana. Bolo Sri Satyanarayana Bhagavan ki jai. Narayanaya Vitmahe Vasudevaya Dhimahi Tanno Vishnu Prachodayat. Bolo Sri Satyanarayana Bhagavan ki jai. Now let us hear the chapter 4. Sadhu and his son-in-law loaded their boat with the riches given to them by the king and sailed homeward. Sadhu's earnestness with respect to devotion to the Lord in the past was questionable, and he was therefore still subject to testing by the Lord if he decides so. Lord Satyanarayana appeared before Sadhu in the form of an ascetic and asked him what he was carrying in his boat. Without realizing that the ascetic was indeed Lord Satyanarayana himself, Sadhu mockingly said, "You ascetic, were you thinking of stealing my things from my boat? We do not have any valuables in the boat anyway. All we have are some leaves and creepers." The ascetic told Sadhu, "So be it," and departed in great haste and stood by the shore. When Sadhu went back to the boat, he discovered to his horror that the boat was really filled with leaves and creepers, as he had falsely told ascetic. Sadhu fainted upon seeing this sight, but he was revived by his son-in-law, who thoughtfully said, "This must be the curse of the ascetic. He must be a mystic. Let us go and ask for his forgiveness." The two merchants went to the seashore where the ascetic was meditating. They fell at his feet and repeatedly begged for their forgiveness. Pleased by Sadhu's action, the kind and magnanimous Lord Satyanarayana said, "Sadhu, do not weep. You suffered because you broke your promise again and again." On hearing this, Sadhu again prayed to Lord Satyanarayana, saying, "O Lord, even Brahma and other devas cannot comprehend your form completely. How can I, with my limited knowledge, comprehend your various forms? I pray to you according to my limited knowledge. Please show me your true form and bless me." Upon hearing his prayer, the Lord was pleased and granted his wishes and restored Sadhu's merchandise on the boat and disappeared. The two merchants then joyfully sailed homeward. On reaching their hometown, they sent a messenger to their respective wives so as to inform them about their safe arrival. At that time, Leelavati and Kalavati were in the middle of performing the Satyanarayana Pooja. Leelavati finished the puja properly and asked Kalavati also to do well. Leelavati then hurried to the shore to meet her husband. But in her eagerness, Kalavati rushed through the puja and ran to meet her husband without finishing the prasad. This action of Kalavati was clearly an indicator of her lack of sincerity in the puja, which to her was a lower priority when compared to meeting her husband. Kalavati learned her lesson quickly. Without any reason, due to Lord's Maya, Kalavati saw the boat had capsized and her husband had drowned. Kalavati started weeping with great sorrow at the turn of events. Sadu was at a loss to know what to do, but still wanted to help his daughter Kalavati. He announced that he will be performing the Satyanarayana Pooja and prayed to Lord Satyanarayana again and again. At this juncture, Lord Satyanarayana, who is the savior of sinners, was very pleased, and his voice was heard to say, "O Sadhu, your daughter did not take the prasad, and thus did not finish the puja properly in her haste to see her husband. Let her go home, back, and take the prasad and return." With full faith in the Lord, Kalavati was remorseful by this time, rushed home, took her prasad, and ate it with great devotion. When she returned to the seashore, she found her husband in his boat. Then Sadhu returned home happily with his wife, daughter-in-law, and son-in-law. Since then, Sadhu never failed to perform the Satyanarayana Puja on every full moon day. With the Lord's grace, he enjoyed all the comforts in this world and finally attained moksha. With this, we end this chapter 4 of Satyanarayana Katha in the Reva Kanta of Skanda Purana. Bolo Sri Satyanarayana Bhagavan ki jai. Narayanaya Vitmahe Vasudevaya Dhimahi Tanno Vishnu Prachodayat. Jai. Bolo Sri Satyanarayana Bhagavan ki jai. Now let us hear the fifth and last chapter. Maharishi Suta continued. Once there was a king called Tungadhvaja who underwent a lot of misery after refusing the prasad from Satyanarayana Pooja. One day after hunting, he was sitting under a shady tree. Some cowards were performing the Satyanarayana Pooja nearby. The king, in his vanity, refused the prasad they offered. When he reached his palace, he found that his kingdom, his 100 sons, his wealth, and everything got destroyed. Then it occurred to him that Lord Satyanarayana was probably displeased with him. He went back to the cowards, prostrated himself before the Lord Satyanarayana altar, and performed the puja with great devotion. Lord Satyanarayana showed his blessing, and the king regained everything he had lost earlier. He lived happily and reached Vaikuntha after his demise. Maharishi Suta said, "O holy men, I have narrated to you the Satyanarayana Katha, which was originally told by Lord Vishnu to sage Narada. By observing this Satyanarayana Vrata, mankind can attain moksha. In this Kali Yuga, observance of Vrata can lead to gratification of one's wishes." Maharishi Suta concluded his narration by telling the assembled rishis what kind of blessings were given by the Lord to the people in these stories. The poor Brahmin of Kashi was reborn as Sudama, the friend of Lord Krishna, who was blessed by Lord Krishna with prosperity and moksha. The woodcutter was reborn as Guha, who devotedly served Lord Rama and attained salvation. King Alkamukha was reborn as Dasratha, the father of Lord Rama himself. Sadu was reborn as King Mayuradhvaja, who won the test Lord Krishna administered to him by offering his body to be cut into 2 halves and offered for charity. King Tungadhvaja was reborn as Manu, the writer of laws, who gave to mankind the code of conduct of righteousness. With this, it ended the 5th chapter and the narration of Maharishi Suta, after which Shaunak and other rishis returned to their respective places. Bolo Sri Satyanarayana Bhagavan ki jai. Narayanaya Vitmahe Vasudevaya Dhimahi Tanno Vishnu Prachodayat. Bolo Sri Satyanarayana Bhagavan ki jai.
Acharyaha Prarthya Akshadanaadhaya Om Namaste Satyadevesha Namaste Karunakara Namaste Satyabhakisha Namaste Satyasuprabho Satyanarayanam Devam Vandeham Kamadam Vibhum Leelaya Vidadam Vishwam Yena Tasmai Namo Namaha. Satyanarayana Swamine Ananta Kodi Prarthananjalim Samarpayami. ॐ इदं विष्णुर्विचक्रमे त्रेधानि दधे पतं समूढमस्य पागुं शुरे श्रियकान्ताय कल्याणनिधये निधयेर्दिना श्रीवेङ्कटनिवासाय श्रीनिवासाय मङ्गलम् ॐ विष्णोर्नुगं वीर्याणि प्रबोधं यः पार्थिवानि विममे रजागुं सिजो अस्य भाजदुत्तरगुं सतस्तं विचक्रमाण श्रेदोरुगाजो विष्णोरराडमसि विष्णो पृष्ठमसि विष्णोस्य प्रेस्तो विष्णोस्यूरसि विष्णोर्ध्रुवमसि वैष्णवमसि विष्णवे त्वा नारायणाय विद्महे वासुदेवाय धीमहि तन्नो विष्णु प्रचोदयात्। रमादेवी अंबिका समेत सत्यनारायण स्वामिने नमः। पंचमुखदीपं दर्शयामि। बोलो श्री सत्यनारायण स्वामी की जय।